We begin with a political earthquake from the United Kingdom. The latest release of investigative records into convicted child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in the United States has led to a major controversy across the Atlantic. It's been triggered by Peter Mandelson. Until last September, he served as the UK's ambassador to the United States, but now at the centre of it is Prime Minister Keir Starmer. And what began as a scandal is quickly turning into a direct threat to Starmer's leadership. The newly released Epstein files have laid bare the nature of Mandelson's ties with the disgraced financier. The records suggest the two maintained regular contact that continued even after Epstein's conviction for sex offences in 2008. Well, Starmer has publicly acknowledged he was aware about Mandelson's association with Epstein.
I am sorry. Sorry for what was done to you. Sorry that so many people with power failed you. Sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him. And sorry that even now you're forced to watch this story unfold in public once again. But I also want to say this. In this country, we will not look away.
Well, the released files also indicate that Mandelson offered advice and support to Epstein in the years following his conviction. And British police are now investigating whether Mandelson may have shared state secrets with Epstein. Well, all of this is emerging years after the disgraced financier was convicted over sexual crimes. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Keir Starmer was forced to respond as Conservatives on the opposition benches pressed him for answers.
Did he know that Mandelson had continued his friendship with Epstein after the conviction?
What was not known was the depth, the sheer depth and extent of the relationship. He lied about that to everyone for years. And new information was published in September showing the relationship was materially different to what we'd been led to believe.
The timeline of the scandal is what's fueling the anger both in the ruling Labour Party and Conservatives in opposition. Jeffrey Epstein was first convicted of soliciting underage girls for sex in 2008. Yet in February 2025, Prime Minister Keir Starmer appointed Epstein associate Peter Mandelson as Britain's ambassador to the United States. Well, he was also involved in the Chagos Islands negotiations, which saw Britain agree to transfer sovereignty of the Indian Ocean Islands to Mauritius. But following the outrage over his links with Epstein, Mandelson was removed as ambassador in September last year. Mandelson was also forced to retire from the House of Lords on Tuesday and has resigned from the Labour Party altogether. But this is no longer just about Peter Mandelson. It's about Keir Starmer. Labour MPs say that the Prime Minister admitted he knew of the friendship and yet appointed him anyway. The Starmer government will now release documents around Mandelson's appointment, and a cross-party committee will judge its outcome. But before the release of these documents, Prime Minister Starmer was already talking about withholding sensitive information.
I intend to make sure that all of the material is published. Mr. Speaker, the only exemptions are national security, if it prejudice national security. My first duty is obviously to keep this country safe. And when we drafted humble addresses, we always put an exemption for national security. But also anything will prejudice international relations. Mr. Speaker, you in the House will appreciate that in the course of discussions country to country, there are very sensitive issues of security, intelligence and trade, which cannot be disclosed without compromising the relationship between the two countries or a third country.
Well, the heat is turning up around number 10. Questions are being asked about who pushed Mandelson's appointment. Fingers are pointing at Starmer's inner circle and at his Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, a longtime ally of Mandelson, in what is already turning out to be a huge political scandal. Well, the Mandelson files could shape what comes next. For Peter Mandelson, his career appears all but over. For Keir Starmer, the stakes are even higher. Well, for more on this, we have with us David Vance, a political commentator, joining us live from London in the UK. Welcome to the programme. Well, the big question is, of course, can Keir Starmer survive this political scandal?
The short answer is he won't. I do not believe this is survivable. I think what you've seen and what you've played is a Prime Minister who realises that he's facing the end and he's trying to drag it out. But I think that the fundamental issue is that at the heart of any politician or any leader of any country, it's about judgment. His judgment was that Peter Mandelson would make a good ambassador to the United States, despite the fact he had the intelligence, he knew the information about the connections to Epstein. Now, I'm afraid there's no way back from that. He can say all that he wants, but everyone knows it. And I think you're watching the final days of Sir Keir Starmer as British Prime Minister.
And either way then, how much is this playing into the hands of the official opposition and indeed other parties?
Yes, good question. I think it obviously helps just about every other party. It helps the Conservative Party, it helps Reform, it helps everyone else. I think the most important thing is, though, that in Britain we have to have political leaders who we can trust, who we believe exercise good judgment on behalf of the country. And it doesn't matter what political complexion they are, those are fundamental requisites. And Starmer's been showing up to be, completely absent that necessary quality. He called Peter Mandelson his friend, and he had the knowledge of the Epstein connections. So, of course, bear in mind that Peter Mandelson goes back to the very beginning of the whole New Labour project. So Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, and now Keir Starmer, they're all tainted by association, all of them. But unfortunately for Keir Starmer, he's standing when the music stops.
And could there be those within the ruling Labour Party right now who would already be trying to coalesce around a replacement if, and it's a big if, Starmer does have to go?
Yeah, again, a great question. I think the answer is yeah, there definitely are. We saw it yesterday. The former Deputy Prime Minister, a lady called Angela Rayner, who Keir Starmer had to sack at the back end of last year over certain tax issues, she actually forced him yesterday to not try and hide behind the documents being limited in terms of what we might see. So she is obviously seeking, I believe, to become the next Prime Minister, but there's a couple of other candidates as well. Look at their faces. Look how sad they all are. They all know the game's up. I mean, this is a funeral, a political funeral we're watching really in slow-mo. And I don't see how honestly, I can't see how you survive it, because you said that this guy was good enough to be the UK ambassador to the United States. Hugely important job. And yet, look at what we found out about Mandelson, and look at what Starmer knew about Mandelson. His judgment is gone.
David Vance, we appreciate your insights. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here. The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news? From battlefields to negotiation tables, from internet outrage to real-world injustice. The conversations everyone is having and the ones they're avoiding. It's the same show, but this new year, Firstpost America gets a new look. I'm Kerry Johnston, and this is Firstpost America.